All right, we're going to finish up the 7-3 day one notes. We are going to look at quadrant 1 of a unit circle. And this can be overwhelming, but keep in mind you don't have to memorize this. In pre-calc next year you will, but we're just going to kind of get our toes wet and make sure that we understand what's going on. So first thing I wanted to mention is these ordered pairs, because we're on a unit circle, it is cosine of theta, comma sine of theta. So these points, this first one, which is in the x position, is cosine, in the y position is sine. So this is basically the order that these points are going to go in. So sine will represent the y value. Cosine will represent the x value. And tangent will be the y value over the x value. But again, making sure you simplify so that there's no radicals in the denominator. So make sure it's simplify. And so a couple things. So this is a unit circle. So if it's a unit circle, we learned before that unit circles have radius 1. So I know that if this is the origin here, that this length from here to here, from the center to an endpoint on a circle, that's my radius, it has length 1. And I also know that to be true on this side as well. So when I go to find these ordered pairs, it shouldn't be too big of a deal because I'm just going over 1 and up 0, basically. Because this, again, this is your x-axis. Here's your y-axis. So this ordered pair would be over 1 and up 0 because we did not increase on the y. Where this ordered pair, we went over 0, but we went up 1. And then what I'm going to do now is these are laid out a specific way based on the 30, 60, 90 triangles. So for instance, this first triangle here, this is a 30 degrees. So this angle here represents a 30 degrees. And why they have this triangle shape kind of is because it's applying the triangles that we just talked about. So I made a little cutout, so we'll see if this helps. So if I were to take my 30-degree triangle, and this was the same one that we did over on the front page, I could figure out this ordered pair by going this distance here on the x, which we know is radical 3 over 2, and then going up the distance on the y, which is 1/2. So this ordered pair is going to be radical 3 over 2 because we went over radical 3 over 2. And we went up 1/2. And basically, that's what's happening is here's the 30, and then this one will represent 45, this one will represent 60, and so on. And I didn't do cutouts for all of them. So I'm just trying to make sure that you understand why we're drawing these in. So you're going to draw them in with me, but this is where they come from, is basically each of our 30, 60, 90s and our 45 triangles are laid on the unit circle, and these distances are going to give us the ordered pairs. So you'll just have to trust me that they all work, but I did show you for that first one. So I'm just going to kind of outline it. You'll have a completed one of these because this won't be perfect. Yeah, look at how curvy that guy is, okay? So, and if we call that a right angle, and then if I do the next one, so next one will be a 45, 45. Okay, so I know this section will represent 45 degrees, and then this one comes down to there. And I will give you the length on here, but you probably can kind of figure it out because a 45, both the legs, if we look back at the notes from yesterday, both the legs on a 45 are radical 2 and radical 2 over 2 and radical 2 over 2. So that means this point will be radical 2 over 2, radical 2 over 2. And then our last part will be our 60 degrees. And I don't know if you noticed, but 30, 60, 90s and 60, 30, 90s, these are just switched. So how this was radical 3 first for a 30, this will be 1/2 for the first one, and then radical 3 over 2 for the second one. And so one thing I just wanted to also point out, so these values not only correspond to our triangles, but they are also representative of angles. So this radical 3 over 2 is cosine of 30 degrees. And this 1/2 is sine of 30 degrees. And I can go through and I'm going to label these just again so we can get acquainted with the unit circles so that we can use it. So this here is going to be our sine of 45 degrees. This will be our sine of 60 degrees. Here will be our cosine of 45 degrees and our cosine of 60 degrees. Because what we're going to focus on is we are going to be focusing tomorrow on finding these different unit measures without using the unit circle, using it as a reference point. Hope that helps.